Hello YouTube. In this video I will give a short presentation on the history and details of the FSR89 target rifle. To understand the history of target rifles built on military Model 96 Mauser rifles, it is necessary to know something about the FSR organization itself. FSR stands for Frivilliga Skytterörelsen, or Volunteer Marksman Organization, and can trace its roots to the middle of the 19th century. After the War of 1809 against Russia, where the eastern half of the nation was lost, the army and navy were in a bad shape. However, the people had a strong will to defend the country, and during the 19th century many initiatives were taken to raise the level of marksmanship among common people. In the year 1864, there were more than 200 shooting clubs with 33,000 members, and while they had official government support and firm ties to the military, they represented a true popular movement with democratic ideals. Towards the turn of the century, the ties to the military weakened, and more came to see shooting as a sport. During this time it was a popular sport, and practically every parish had its own shooting range. After the introduction of the Model 96 Mauser rifle, it gradually replaced the earlier Remington rolling block rifles used in FSR competitions. Due to the military connection, the rifles were not allowed to deviate from what the army used. The diopter sight and pistol grip on the top Model 96 were only allowed much later. In 1963, a new variant of the Model 96, the CG63, was accepted. By now, diopter sights were used and the rifles were no longer military standard. A new stock with vertical pistol grip was used, the bolt mass was reduced for shorter lock time, triggers were modified or replaced, and a new heavier free-floating barrel was also an option. The CG63 was further modified in 1973, and in 1980 the CG80, shown here, was accepted. It featured a better stock and an even heavier barrel than the CG63. In the middle of the 1980s, talk was underway among the shooting associations of the Scandinavian countries about a new standard rifle. In 1987, after extensive tests, the Sauer 200 STR, or Scandinavian target rifle, was decided upon. However, Alvar Holmgren, the man in the middle holding the trophy in this photograph from 1973, had other ideas. Alvar was a very accomplished shooter during the 70s, and he was also considered among the best of the FSR gunsmiths. The result of Alvar's ideas was the FSR89, the last in a long line of Swedish target rifles based on the Model 96 mechanism. In Alvar's own words, he wanted to put the Model 96 system on artificial respiration, and to get the very best out of this by now almost 100 years old system. The main improvements over the CG80 was a new stock and an ultra-short stroke for even faster lock times. Alright, let me show you one of my two FSR rifles. This is the one I compete with, and it was made by Alvar Holmgren himself. The stock is walnut, the barrel is 74 centimeters long, and the rifle has a busk diopter. The recoil pad and cheek rest are both adjustable. The busk diopter is a Norwegian sight, and was and still is considered one of the best for this type of shooting. Here you can see the nicely done glass bedding of the action. Alvar Holmgren was famous for doing a good job at this. Also, note that the barrel is completely free-floating. The receiver of this rifle is more than 100 years old. Old receivers were used to keep the costs down, as FSR had as a stated policy that shooting should be accessible to everyone. The rail under the rifle is so that you can adjust the attachment point for the sling according to your liking. The stippling on the pistol grip and underneath the rifle was not done on all rifles, and I've only seen it on rifles made by Alvar Holmgren. I'm struggling a bit with the bolt here, since this is not the correct bolt for this rifle. These bolts were hand-fitted to their individual rifles, and you should not use a bolt that does not belong to the rifle when firing it. Each vertical and horizontal click of the sight equals 1 centimeter at 100 meters distance. There is also an adjustable aperture for different light conditions. If the rifle has the ultra-short stroke, it should be marked with the initials of the gunsmith on the back of the bolt. You can also see the difference in the locking piece here, with the ultra-short stroke one on the left. It has been said that the stock of the FSR89 rifle was inspired by small-bore target rifles of the era. Here I am comparing it to my Anschutz 1403 rifle. As you can see, the position, the sheath rest, butt plate, hand grip and attachment for the sling are pretty similar. The pieces of paper taped to the stock are quick references for information I need to know when competing in Feldskytte or field shooting. Feldskytte is shot at unknown distances in the terrain outside of shooting ranges. This table tells the distances to the various targets used in competitions. Also note that all the targets have originally a military origin, even though it's a bit hard to tell by now. This table tells you how much you have to adjust the sight vertically for distance and also horizontally for wind. And finally, here is some footage of me shooting my FSR89 at 300 meters. The magazine holds 5 rounds, but in Feldskytte you shoot 6. The last round is loaded by putting it on top of the already loaded ones and pushing the bolt forward.
Alla kåporna på. Ja.
I'm trying to keep a good tempo here. In Feldskytte you have less than 1 minute to fire 6 rounds, which is harder than it sounds. On my best days I can shrink this group a bit more. However, the rifle is capable of much better results. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video interesting and informative.